You dirty.
You.
That's what I was like. That's what I like. That's what I'm like with Koa this week. He wakes up at 3 o'clock.
You've done it again.
He wakes up at 3 o'clock with a dirty nappy. You've done it again, you dirty little. He's done it. He's done it again.
That's so funny.
I wake up, fam. He's done it again, dirty little. And I even do the iconic one, which everyone was talking about. Lee Judges, when he looks at his phone, just gets angry. I look at the phone because it's the camera on him. Okay. He's done it again. Little
what do you reckon Lee was looking at on his phone? Some fan winding him up or someone laughing at Arsenal?
That's a great question for the comments. That is a great question for the comments. What was he looking at? What was it?
I could probably get the answer off him. I could say we're talking about a couple of clips from you, Lee.
Yeah.
Could you tell us what you was actually looking at on your phone when you was getting angry? He probably might record a little. Well, Flav, I was watching. He might do that.
Do you know how I know for a fact that Lee Judges is a class act?
How? Because
he's been in the YouTube space for this long, and he's not known as the judge. That's just like, that is staring you in the face.
The judge.
But he hasn't stepped towards that at all.
How do you know that?
Unless he has. Let me know.
I don't know.
How are you feeling?
Done it again. How am I feeling?
I
all right.
actually could hear him crying, and he's not crying. I could hear him crying.
Yeah, because you heard it so much, it's sort of in your head.
Yeah. No, bastard! Sorry, son, if you're watching this 10 years on. It was a joke at the time. There was a guy called Lee Judges, and he had this sort of meme that we all quite enjoyed. A meme was a thing that on Twitter used to be how we all communicate. Son, just stop watching.
Stop shitting yourself in the middle of the night, son. Is what I'd say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your fault. You did this.
Ko's watching this. Ko's watching this as a 10-year-old. The day after he's shut himself again. I'll be like,
stop shitting yourself, mate.
The shame that he's feeling.
There's so much. There's only so much your dad can take.
Yeah.
Stop shitting yourself during the night. I know at the time of recording, you was a tiny baby. It's not your fault.
Yeah. I know. And if you are 10 and that's still
you're 10 now,
you need to have a look at yourself, son. Because I'll hold your hand till 4, which you will have seen. But after that, I'm a little bit gutted that this is still going on. I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, now what? Did you not have any accidents in your?
I think they were coming. I did the sort of. Have you weed the bed when you've been so drunk? Did that?
No,
once.
I've never done that. I've never done that. But I know but it's generally like mates that used to get on the sesh, and their wives would meet up in midweek, or we'd go for dinner, and they'd go. I won't say the people's names, but they'll say like Mark. Mark did it again the other weekend. What did he do?
Little bastard, dirty little bastard.
Little bastard, Mark. He did it again, didn't he? And what has he done again? He's got up. He's got out of bed. And he's not gone to the toilet. He's gone to the corner of the room and just pissed in the corner of the room.
Yeah, I had a mate who did that. I had a mate who kept doing that. Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's some sort of like narcotic-induced psychosis where they think they're in the toilet, but they're just pissing everywhere. That's
one for the comments that was in my mind. I won't say what it's about. I won't even give an example. But there was a thing which isn't useful, but there was a thing I was thinking about where there's things in the world that people do, that people that don't do them see those people doing them, and it's so obvious that it's not something to do. And there has to be some kind of like, I don't know, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm so tired. Is it some like evolutionary? That's the word. That was a big word, to be fair. Yeah. Evolutionary, like element of why they're still doing things like that. Do you know what I mean? Or like Jerry Francis's hair, for example.
Yeah, like everybody knows it's wrong.
Yeah,
everybody can tell you, Jerry, that your haircut's mental, but He don't care. He likes it. This is what he's about.
Yeah, and I mean, do you?
Like what? It's people that are making obvious mistakes. How do they not come to that realization?
That's it. And like, but is there something else like knocking around it? Jerry just won't let go, and bless him. We saw him at. So you guys will all know about Sam and Samisms. Again, if I can plug his channel again, so good because all the ownership stuff is he's absolutely killing it right now. But
I bet he doesn't give a shit about where the money comes from, does he? He does not give a solitary fuck about where this money. Who's been hurt to get this money? All the Man United fans all say, "Well, we're not sure about it." All of you, to a fucking man, just want the most amount of money.
If you do watch him, I would say it's very impressive actually. The tightrope as a fan that you've got to sort of tread across, where you're not seen as sort of morally bankrupt, but also getting yourself safe, because down the road, quite clearly, quite possibly, is this takeover from
and the glory of it ensures. Yeah. I think that the difficult place they find themselves in, James, is that obviously the best place at this stage right now is to go, well, we don't want our club to be sport washed, right? We don't want it. There's an argument that, you know, to some degree, the Qatari money is sport washing, but isn't it okay, or isn't it a positive thing that potentially the values of the Qatari people may be becoming less hardlined, and they're trying to adapt and become more modern, and ergo create a society that is more accepting? Isn't that a positive thing? Because often I think sometimes people are like, well, no, this is how they are. This is how abhorrent that some of their feelings are about, you know, homosexuals or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But if there's a will to change, you got to let them change, right? And adapt and become a better society. And if that is a part of that is by increasing the amount of conversation about Qatar, rather than just putting it in a box and going, this place is terrible, we shouldn't be accepting money from it. There may be an argument, and I'm not even sure I believe what I'm saying here. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah. No,
there may be a movement towards good, and that you know, that they want their society to be more inclusive and be considered a
yeah, they're trying to take those first steps, sort of.
Or I'm being incredibly naive.
Yeah,
one or the other. Probably
I think in terms of, oh no, we're trying to be better. Trying to be better is not buying a football club. It's like, you know, start within your own front doorstep, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's maybe what they try. I don't know what they're trying to do, but the football doesn't matter. It's just a fucking sport. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it's it is ultimately a plaything for most owners, to be honest. For actually a lot of owners, there's not that sort of, I just want to provide
Blackburn,
this.
92.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I think Jack Walker's probably not. Jack Walker's possibly the exception to the rule, I would say.
Well, you don't know what fucking skeletons are in Jack Walker's.
Yeah.
No, do you know what I mean? Stinks of.
Bet there's loads of people like that.
Stinks of a sex.
I bet there's loads of people now, and we're not saying that that is Jack, but I bet there are loads of people who've somehow, like, you know, passed away with their reputation massively intact, despite being horrible people.
Yeah.
Loads. Yeah. Let us know in the comments who you certain is there's something, because actually, so on the podcast we've got a lot of I can't do this anymore, which is really good. Some really funny comments, and a few no. That's starting to sort of gather legs. That's going to be the latest added to the lexicon.
No.
Which is, so the example of that is when Flav saw Harry Kane for the first time, and he went, "No, that's not going to work out." Doesn't always work out. Sometimes it does.
The better, don't use that example. The better example is Paulinho. That's the best example. So right.
And getting it right. Yeah, so we've got some good ones of that. But yeah, I wonder if there's anyone in the sort of this is a harsh road to go down. And again, all speculation. But is there anyone out there who you're just like,
their reputation, they're dead. They died with their reputation intact, and we need to pick apart whether or not that is just on this podcast.
Could we have another look at that? Yeah.
Could we have? A VAR check on their life, please.
Can we get VAR? Yeah. Which famous person needs a VAR check? That's very. It's oh no, but it's football chat. We're not having a go at them because it's called that. Joking here.
Not dead, is he?
No, they don't have to be dead. Don't mean they have to be dead.
Oh right.
Yeah, they don't have to be dead. Anyway, so yeah, to kind of get that. I'll give you a no. We've got a couple of other no's, but here's one that I did find quite funny. Where is it? Oh no. Well, we'll find it later on. I mean, it was somewhere. Maybe it was in the Big Laugh Award.
Jim, can you share the YouTube link because I don't have it?
Oh, sorry.
And I'm not seeing your screen either. But
I think that's just to say as well. Quite a tough thing that men have to get on with is that once you get to a certain age, you're just a creep. Do you know what I mean?
What's happened, James?
No, nothing's happened. But nothing's happened. But what's happened, Jeff? And we'll get back to Jerry Francis. No, he's not a creep. But yeah, there is something in that, don't you think?
What? Give me some context of why you've brought that up.
It's just a thing. I've been thinking about it for a while. Maybe because I'm getting older,
I don't know. If you're as a 40-year-old man, I can't go to the bars and clubs like I used to.
You cannot use the word "for" anymore. You can't use the word "for." I mean, no, a few men should.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. I went down to my brother's. No, it's Gay Pride, right? It's just Pride. I think it's just called Pride. I don't think it's called Gay Pride anymore. It's just Pride for everybody, inclusive Gay Pride. Look, super inclusive. LGBTQIA plus Pride. We went down to celebrate.
Say AI.
LGBTQIA plus. I think that's all of them, right?
Intelligence.
But no, it's intersexed and asexual. I think.
Okay,
I might be wrong.
Again, I'm really trying to cancel myself today.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
Anyway, I'm making a point here, Jim, and that is that while we were there celebrating, my girlfriend's best friends, they are a married lesbian couple, and then my mate Lee just used to live down in Brighton, and we thought, what a great, and it was an amazing couple of days, right? But we did go into a club, and I looked around and went, I'm fucking at least double the age of the most of the people in here, and I don't feel comfortable. And since then, I've never been back to one of those.
Right.
It's the guys that do keep going back. They are creeps.
Right. I went to Notting Hill. The one time I went to Notting Hill Carnival, the reason I've probably not gone back was because there was somewhat like they're all coming down the road. They're all coming down the road, and it's like, oh, this is brilliant, and I like this music. This is class. Really enjoying this. Why have I not been here before? And then I had to sort of watch a man vigorously dagger. I think it's called. What's it called? Daggering?
Yeah, the dance, the sort of dance hall style. It's mental. It's
hectic. And I was just like, no. Don't do it. It's obviously a thing that's fine. I don't feel comfortable here.
You wouldn't be very good at it.
No, I'd be too delicate. Are we ready on 3?
The heights that they jump, how they don't injure themselves, it's beyond me. It's mental.
And he came from nowhere. It wasn't like it wasn't like they were sort of dancing together and he went shower. He gave her the look and they just went for it. He was sort of
it's like, did she accept this? But I think
on his way past.
I think you enter a sort of social contract when you go in there. But this is what goes on.
He had a sort of 2 yard. Penalties. You know when penalties you're allowed one step penalties when you're playing football. He had 2 steps. He sort of went flew into them. She seemed happy enough. She seemed sort of like unaffected. Like she was sort of like, is that all you got? Next.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. How do you feel about the Qatar bid for Man United? Who would you like to see get it? Or do you want that money for yourself at Tottenham?
I don't want Man United to be bought out by someone with a bottomless pot of money because they will become the most powerful club in the world without any question. Their revenue, now that it's come to light that Man City's revenue is most likely false, and that they that their ability to spend isn't where it appeared to be. Ergo, they wouldn't have been able to do what they did, right? We know what that issue is.
Yeah.
With Man United, their revenue is bigger than any other club in the world. I think even bigger than Real Madrid, right? So, which means that their spending power will be so much more than Newcastle's, Chelsea's, Tottenham's, anybody's, and they will return to the summit of the Premier League. And unless regulation comes in and it's strict, even still, there's not much in terms of financial power that anyone could do to stop them. They would, and the thing is, I don't think it will. Then no one will be able to surpass them. Whereas you think like Man City and Chelsea, they had their day in the sun, but there was a limit to what they can do because they're just not as big as Manchester United. Manchester United are the biggest club in the world. They generate the most money, so therefore, in line with financial fair play, they will be able to spend much more than anybody else. Obviously, it's still human error. You can bring in the wrong coaches. You can bring players don't work out. But as an advantage, that constant advantage that Manchester United will have with Qatari backers and their revenue would mean they would remain the most powerful club in the world forever, probably, unless something huge changes in football and the way clubs can spend. But
I think
the answer is your question is I want the Glazers to stay.
Do you know what I think? I think so. There's this sort of white paper that's come out, right? I've got it here, and there's the Athletics talking about, is it a landmark moment or a PR exercise? And the four, I'll be honest, I haven't completely been able to really drill down into this because, yeah, like I said, I've had a mad week. But the key recommendations of new tests, and I saw a little bit on it earlier on. So new tests for potential club owners and directors, power to stop clubs joining breakaway competitions such as the European Super League, supporters given a greater say in protecting club identity from changes, for example, names, badges, and home shirts.
This is the sport fans having some sort of controlling or an influential role, in a board
and a review of visa system. This feels pretty bold. New plans. This feels pretty weak to me. I have to look into it more, but on the face of it, that's not enough for me. And I was sort of hopeful for this because as much as some of those things are important, right? And these new tests are interesting, I guess. What are these new tests, and are these new tests actually going to stop the berries going out of business, or are they going to stop more nation states buying football clubs? Because that's again, I gotta say this every week. The ceiling is the problem as much as, the sort of grassroots basement part of it, and bringing it onto Man United. That's where I think, and maybe I'm a sucker for it. Maybe I'm falling for this, but in the statement from Ratcliffe, Minios, and I think they want 60-odd%. Is that right? You guys will let me know in the chat. But what he talks about is like staying in line with the governance. Or the changes that will come with the governance of it all. And I see that as such a... I think if Man United, of all clubs, don't have to take the nation-state money because of the revenue that they bring in. And they could be the bastion, weirdly, like from a really, advantaged viewpoint and a selfish viewpoint, in the fact that by stopping these kind of things occurring more and more so, they will always be at the top. And they know they'll always be at the top by kind of like squishing it back together a little bit, or not letting it get to the point where you literally have to. Because you were saying that there becomes this idea, say with Qatar money or any of those countries, whatever, like that they have to start somewhere. Like the same goes in terms of that idea of, oh, well, if you want to compete, you've got to do it. Well, no, that doesn't have to be the way either. And I think with Man United in particular, I think there's an opportunity to go, this is all kind of getting out of hand, play the sort of good guy in it, whilst also maintaining your ability to stay at the top. But that only works if, one, they kind of step in that direction and it's not that kind of money. And also, if the government and this independent regulator actually show some teeth and actually focus on the issues of future spending as much as just who owns the football club. So that's how I feel about it.
I think, yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity, but where the power lies with people that don't give a shit about that opportunity. You know, this is about whether or not which bid Glazers are going to accept, and that'll be based purely on whether or not who pays the most, right? Neither of these bids have matched what they think the club is valued. You know, so they wanted 6 billion, right? And neither of these bids are there, right? So if there's no, as far as I've read, that some people have read that the Glazers are ready to go, and they're ready to accept a bid. Others have said they're holding out for what they think the club's worth. So whatever it is, it's going to be money that dictates it. So you're kind of saying that while this is an opportunity, whether or not this opportunity will present itself or we see it play out is in the hands of the Glazers, who in their handling of Manchester United have shown absolutely no appreciation for the traditions of football at all. So I would be, I don't hold much hope.
No,
in
I get
instance.
that. I get that. And but yeah, it does feel like the cat's out of the genie lamp. Samism.
Yeah, they Manchester United fans feel like that you know, the money that the club generates should be reinvested into the club, which is completely fair, and that the club shouldn't be saddled with debt created by the Glazers. The problem is while a lot of people are saying, well, and myself included, say, well, they spent £1 billion in 7 years or whatever it is on players and wages, but you look at the ground and it's it's starting to look really ropey. I don't know if you've been near Old Trafford recently, but we go up there for work quite a bit and often have to stay in hotel football. And then it's literally on, you can see the stadium from your hotel window. And that doesn't look like the stadium of a team that's the biggest in the world. It just looks like it's like needs work. It needs it's more than a coat of paint. It really needs renovation. Because essentially the stadium is your lighthouse, right? It's what people think about when they think about the club. There's, you know, so that the training ground apparently is you know, nowhere near what you'll find at Tottenham or Manchester City. And I was listening to Jesse Lingard on Stephen Bartlett's podcast, which was a very poor episode. I thought Jesse Lingard didn't give up much, apart from when he was talking about his family life. That was interesting, but the football side of stuff was dull. But he was talking about the state of the facilities in the training ground, that it just doesn't match up to what you think Man United are.
Yeah.
And all of those things will be refreshed and rebuilt when these new owners come in. So it should have a different feeling towards of a club. Sorry, that's a terrible sentence. The fans should feel different about Manchester United once Glazers have left, but you just don't know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
You're thinking about the traditions of what Manchester United, you think the Qatari bid is probably less attractive. But in terms of achieving on the pitch, it's the most attractive.
Yes, spot on. And yeah, I think I'm so tired.
You can ask me questions and I'll answer them, Jim, if you feel so tired.
Good. I've got things to read, so that's good. But I definitely had a wicked thought there, and one day it'll come out. I'm excited. I just went, dude, do you see me power down there? I reckon I've had, just to because I feel bad when I can't talk. I reckon I've had 4 hours sleep in the last 3 days. That's how I.
Really? It's that bad?
That's where I think I'm at. He's done it again! Anyway, let's have some funny stuff, because I can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
What was I going to say? There was something. No, it's gone. Right.
Jim, can you share your screen?
Yeah.
So I can see
Last week's pod was fun, wasn't it? I thought it was a goodie. It was a goodie whilst not being vulgar, I felt, which is unlike us. And we get sucked into that, don't we? Sometimes. Don't say suck. Right. George Davies I thought I'd just get this out there. By the way, if you want to become a patron, you would have, if you have already been one, but if you become one, you will get to enjoy 102 mailbags. And in the last one, we were able to enjoy some incredible drawing from one of our patrons, and also incredible opera singing by the one and only Thomas Martin, who's in the who's in the chat right now. Nigel Martin's son is a absolute
talent
angel. He's got an angel.
The talent
voice.
the talent.
God, he's talented.
God, I mean, could you imagine the talent that's running through Nigel Martin's semen?
Oof.
Just full of fucking talent. The bloodline is strong in the Martin household.
Yeah, if
the
only
bloodline
Nigel,
is strong.
You know, they've got.
Only Nigel had more kids. It's a shame Nigel Martin didn't have 18 kids, because what value would they bring to society?
Yeah, generation after generation becoming the GOAT in different areas of the body. Hands for Nigel, voice for Thomas, who knows what will come from his offspring. Exciting.
Generations upon generations of grade A Jizz.
Yeah, right up there.
Right up there.
Yeah.
Some of the best Jizz around.
You know what, son? Anyway, George Davies. Yeah, so if you want to become a patron, links in the description. Join us, and you can enjoy that. Thomas, you're a stud, mate, says John Farrell. See, that's the kind of community we've got. Anyway, George Davies says, James, would it be possible? And do you know what, I like the gall of George here. It's a day on the podcast, especially after last week.
I hate him already.
Especially after last week.
I hate his guts already.
Especially after last week's podcast where myself and Flav turned on Oliver.
I'm trying hard not to turn out.
This for me, let me just read it, because he knows when he writes this, it's dangerous. James, would it be possible to start adding chapters to these video podcasts?
Fuck off.
I think it's a good idea, but I'm not doing it. Just to be clear.
Listen to me. I'll tell you what. Are we not busy? Are we not fucking busy? Hold on a minute. Fucking making me knock my camera over and everything. Are we not busy, mate? Do you not think we've got nothing to do? Do you enjoy this podcast every week, do you?
Yeah.
Do you? You enjoy this fucking podcast?
Do you?
If you want fucking chapters, write them yourself, you fucking dickhead.
Fucking hell.
Sorry.
No. Hey, do not apologise. Do not apologise.
Wow, it's fucking winding me up, isn't he?
Would it be possible to start adding chapters? Look, to be clear, and this is why I'm reading it out, I think chapters are a good idea, but I'm not doing it. I've got enough going on. I can't. And just so you know, I don't know what other creators are like. Once this goes live, I am not watching it. You think I'd watch this? You think I'd watch this after having to hear it once?
Yeah, do you think doing this shit, we want to then watch this shit?
Are you mad?
Are you fucking out of your mind? Honestly, who's George Davies, if that's even your real name, mate? Yeah. George Davies. Who's called George Davies?
I like the idea for the chapters. The idea that you think I'm going to do it. Let me put it politely, George. You're miles off. You're absolutely miles.
You're
off.
Lost. You're floundering. You're drowning at the moment, mate. You're absolutely. Did you not just hear what James said? He's had 4 hours sleep in 3 days, and I've had a good 16, 17 hours in those 3 days, and I'm not even going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, what am I going to do? What's 4 a.m? Like, fam comes in and goes, "What are you doing?" Oh, George wants me to do the chapters. Fuck off.
Yeah, fucking hell,
You're miles off. You are miles off.
Swear to God. And swear to God.
And he's not alone. All 4 of you who like this comment. Why don't
you
do it? You do it.
Do it.
Because I'm not doing it.
Look, between you, that's George has said it, and there's 4 others of you. Surely, between the 5 of you, you could do the chapters and put them in the comments. And
I'll be honest, I reckon there's actually only 4 of them. I reckon George probably liked his own comment.
I reckon he's gone to the lengths of making up several YouTube accounts, several Gmail accounts, and liked his own fucking comment.
Big Dad says 2 pods running. We have to be better. I agree. No chance, George. I like the idea, and I like that you had the.
It's a great idea.
But there's
a great idea.
way You said James
You're
specifically to
fucking-
me. James. If anything, there's a sign of respect to you, Flav. a clear understanding. Flav's not going to be doing the chapters. I'm not doing the chapters. If you want to do the chapters, I love it. I welcome it. There's no fucking way I'm doing the chapters. I hope I've made that.
You know
clear.
what? Shove your chapters up your ass, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's move on to the next chapter. Sticking that comment up your ass. Right.
Yeah.
Quote of the week.
Yeah.
Sean Levitt. I watch a lot of YouTube, but this podcast is the only one I 100% want to listen to every week. I hope James doesn't get too big and stop it. He must beware hubris. Thank you for the comment. If you like it that much, Sean, I've got a job for you. No, George has. George has got a job for you. Who can do the chapters better? Oh, it's a competition.
Nice one, Sean.
Thank you for that, Sean. Much appreciated.
He doesn't need chapters, does he? He watches the whole thing.
Yeah. The Jim Big Laugh Award. James, let us know your surname, just so everyone can be aware. James says, I can't sneeze without farting. It's off the back
I didn't know this is a thing.
Is this a thing? I can't. Hear that again. And 31 likes. I can't sneeze without farting. It's impossible. That's just not. Big Joe says, I can't fart without sneezing.
There you go.
And that's what made me laugh. Well done, Big Joe. I can't fart without sneezing. Ben Farrelly, that made me laugh. Ben Farrelly, power move. Not sure if you still do these, but a mate of mine was.
I would have said Morgan. It says it's like your body taking a screenshot.
Who says that?
Morgan in the comments.
Sure, that's great.
That is fantastic. That's genius, Morgan. Farting and sneezing at the same time is like your body taking a screenshot. That is genius.
That's so good.
That's so good, Morgan.
That is class.
Amazing.
Really good. Needed that. Oh, wait.
Ching.
Oh dear. And there's the tears. Not sure if you still do these, mate, but a mate of mine was recently on the end of a power move that I wanted to share. He's quite young looking for his age, and he usually gets asked for ID in pubs. When he ordered his pint of Guinness, not only was he asked for ID, but the barman also said to him, "Make sure you let that settle, son." Clearly doubting that my mate had any experience of drinking Guinness or presumably anything else. May seem like a minor power move, but the barman let him know who's boss. I quite like that.
Mm.
Make sure you let that settle. Obviously. When you were young, was there anything you did to try and make yourself look older or seem older?
I mean, I was acutely aware of how young I looked in my teen years. Really. So as soon as I could grow facial hair, I did, even if it was a bit wispy.
I'm still doing that now. Oh yeah, we had a mate. There was a thing around my way where you'd go to Newquay after your GCSEs and get a fake ID and go in the clubs. And if you see a picture of me, imagine me at 16, how young I looked. It's honestly hilarious. But I had this ID, and the guy was like, "Where have you got this? What website did you get this from?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "In you go." But anyway, one of the guys, one of my mate Pat, he still doesn't live this one down. Every night he'd wear sunglasses there on his collared shirt.
Oh, wow.
To try and am I 18?
Well, look at this.
Yeah.
Jim, at 16, you'd have been like a paedophile's dream, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Because you're of legal tender, but
yeah,
you still look about 8 years old.
Ready to spend. You could say. We shouldn't laugh about stuff like that. All we're joking about is that I look young. Okay.
Yeah.
Jack Lane. Most YouTube podcasts. Thanks for your comments. Please like and subscribe. Flav, 15 minutes 55. This is for you when you went after Oliver. It's the kind of relatability that has me tuning in every week. That didn't make me laugh. And Patrick Stone. This is off the same bat. Did someone just come in Discord? No. I thought I heard my voice there. Crikey, looking into Flav's eyes when he was insulting Oliver. Oliver, the comment sheet was magic. Pools of crystal. Wonderful podcast. And Lewis commented underneath that, said, I could almost hear careless whisper as he stared into my soul angrily. Yeah, very good. All those made me laugh. So well done.
Good. Good work.
Okay. Oh, yeah. The only thing I've got for football chat, I have a bit of football chat. And this will be, there'll be a load of people who listen to the podcast. I go, thought we got away with it. Liverpool getting pumped. What's your?
Yeah.
Would you like to react to that? Do you know what I think's really like cruel on it? Well, not cruel on it. Okay. Well, two things. First of all, I've been struck by how much everyone's loving it. So much. I was like, it's only the first leg, but like people are honestly absolutely loving every second of the gentle demise.
I definitely think they can come back though. There's no away goals. They could definitely do it. Like Liverpool are fucking. They've made their history is steeped in this sort of stuff of these magical comebacks and huge wins. They can do that. I know there's problems at Liverpool, but they can definitely go to Real Madrid and win by 3 goals. Not that it's likely to happen.
No, I get that.
If any club in England you'd have to back in this situation, it would definitely be Liverpool.
Do you know what's brutal as well? It's like they're 2-0 up. So like, more to your point, of like they can do. They were 2-0 up. Like
exactly, yeah. They were 2-0 up, but do you know what they remind me of? Liverpool at the moment, like they could definitely come back and beat Real Madrid in the second leg, but they do kind of remind me of Spurs. Not this season, when we were sort of a bit more gung ho, and towards the end of Pochettino's time at Spurs, and they have better players than we had, I guess. But the squad looks a little bit weak and looks like it needs a massive new influx of talent. Some older players need to be shipped on, and they're truly. Everyone says they're in transition every season if things are not going exactly how you hope they would go. Oh, we're in transition. Tottenham's in transition because Conte, hasn't done as well as we thought he would. So therefore we're in transition. It's bollocks, right? But Liverpool are in transition. They are in this weird position of having to negotiate the problems or circumnavigate the problems that are created by players that they used to rely on week in, week out, not being able to deliver because they're human beings, losing money and having to bring in, Luis Diaz, who's been injured. And there's a lot of reasons why Liverpool aren't clicking.
And also like the standard that they need to reach. That I think so that's high. The thing that kind of gets. Yeah, it's not like you've got a kind of like Everton and Newcastle beating them and finishing 5th or whatever is one thing, but that's the thing. I think we all were like, wow, like Real Madrid got kind of like caught off guard, and then obviously the Alisson goal makes a huge difference, but their ability to sort of gently walk to where they need to get to in a game, even if it's not really going their way, is pretty impressive. I like.
Yeah, they're good. You can't take anything away from Real Madrid, but they are, there's 8 points off Barcelona.
Funny,
in La Liga.
It's a funny old game.
Champions League does throw up these things, but it's going to be a long-winded revival.
A QPR in transition then. Guess we are.
Well, I guess because you lost your manager, so that I guess.
We got a new one nowadays. Come on, you watch. You bloody watch. I'm saying it now. We're back. You watch us pump Blackburn this weekend.
Back where?
Back into sort of 12th.
Do you think it's absolutely guaranteed that now you got Ainsworth that there is no chance you can go down?
One must beware hubris. Do you know what? It's funny. So Gareth Ainsworth his style of play is kind of known for being really direct, and that's not what we've been trying to do for a long time. But we've kind of got to a point where it's sort of like, go get Gareth. Let's sort this out. And I really hope he's got levels to him. I really do, because he's, it means a lot for me to be able to trust the man. And with Gareth, you can trust the man. Gareth tried to run off a broken leg. Let's not forget that.
He's a good football man, isn't he, Jim? He's a good football man. And he looks like a rock star, and I love that. And but
I just really hope it doesn't like completely crash and burn. Like, just get a response. That's what I want. I'm worried that he does. It won't be his fault. It will be that the squad isn't capable of behaving in the way that he wants. I'm not sure. That's where I'm concerned, because we've got like all these sort of tippy tappy footballers, but hopefully Gareth will get them going. Go on, Wild Thing.
He's Dykes. Yeah, I bet Dyke is. Who's your striker?
It's Dykes, but he got pneumonia. Age old footballer's injury. He's pulled his pneumonia. So yeah, he's obviously sorting himself.
Is he target man enough to play the direct role?
The Ainsworth way. Well, we signed Chris Martin, not the lead singer of Coldplay, the guy who used to play for Derby and Bristol City, and he's that. He's a sort of he's like Grant Holt. He's like sort of that kind of player. So he might be of use. You searching Chris Martin?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it might be. I did want to read this out regarding Liverpool, chat. I can't do this anymore. As a Liverpool fan, and do you know what? It's always dangerous to start a comment with those sort of, 9 words. I can't do this anymore as a Liverpool fan. But actually,
what is it that you can't? Yeah, I'm worried about how I might react.
Because actually, I've got one from Big Burrito as well. He said, actually, he says, I became a Chelsea fan. Again, dangerous start to a comment.
Yeah. Neither of these starts are good.
Yeah, but Barge, first of all, I can't do this anymore. As a Liverpool fan, it's when you've waited your entire life to see your team win the league, but it happens during a global pandemic and there's no real emotional release as it's in an empty stadium without You'll Never Walk Alone or a trophy parade. And when you have to have the opportunity to push on and do it with the fans, you don't sign any centre-backs, then fail to sign any midfielders, failing to capitalise on the perfect manager and momentum we've built after years of relative mediocrity. Well done. Great. What a save that was. That's like literally just as the cup was falling off the table, we just went relative. Well done. Mediocrity. Whilst your rivals are spending hundreds of millions and being bought by nation states, whilst your owners simultaneously conspire with those clubs to break away from the history of our league and form a closed corporatized monopoly, essentially ending the game we all grew up loving. That is such a good comment.
Really well written as well.
Yeah, I have huge sympathy for Liverpool now. If you use that, don't do the Hodgson thing. Use that. That's yours.
During the global pandemic. Yeah, because it's like I don't even remember that happening, Jim. I know the pandemic happened. I don't remember when the league happening. Really, it was like it didn't count.
And they were so far ahead before it happened, then it picked up.
And then there was
again.
there was a break, and then it was just like, does this season even count? No one's really taking it seriously. Let them, if they want to win the league, if they think that means like they have actually won the league, then that's fine. They can have it. There should be a big asterisk next to that win for Liverpool, that league win for Liverpool. It will be in the annals of the Premier League history. Premier League winners, Liverpool Football Club, and then little asterisks. An open bracket and a bracket, sort of. Or I was like, but does it really count? And then close brackets. Yeah. And then we just move on.
Sort of. Kinda. James Warner disagrees. He says they won the Champions League in front of fans. Yeah, true. Not their own fans. They're not at Anfield. Winning Flav, you won't understand this, but as a fan who's watched their team win the league, become champions, take the title, to enjoy it at your home ground is incredibly special, and I hope you get to enjoy that one day.
When did you win the league? What league? You're talking about you won promotion. You're not champions.
We won the title.
You can't be champions of leagues that are not in...
And we're both going to say the same stuff. So let's move on.
Okay.
Big Burrito. I became a Chelsea fan. Ooh, don't do that. When I first began watching club football. I'm American. And one side of my family comes from Costa Rica. So we'd watch the World Cup every 4 years, but I never really paid attention to any clubs until I watched some Champions League games with my papito. He did write papito, and I love that. Papito. Those games happened to be Chelsea's 2 legs of the Champions League semi-final against Barcelona and then the final in Munich against Bayern. In those moments, Chelsea felt like the newcomers, but somehow managed to defeat these ancient giants of the game despite an inexperienced manager and poor performances in the league. It was the moment that endeared me to this team and these players forever. Since then, I've understood Chelsea's position in the hierarchy and the cash steroid nature of how they operate compared to the typical club. And it strikes home how different my perspectives is from the fan of their local club. That's something that feels quite similar to how people treat their teams from their city here in the US. Modern fans more and more seem to appreciate the sport and the sportsmen much more so than the organisations. But that club ultra energy is something that will not die regardless of how much capitalism consumes the game. I hope you're right, Big Burrito. Good last week.
I know it's a nice comment. I don't agree with you, and
He's not having it.
It will die, or what it used to be isn't what it is anymore. Unfortunately, but maybe it's different in the US following. But in terms of England, how following your club has changed in the advent of what the Premier League is now, and the oversaturation of football on every level, including YouTube, football fan media. Has meant that it's just different. It's not necessarily worse, it's just different. And if you've had experienced both, obviously sometimes with someone of my age, you look back at with rose-tinted glasses at what football once was. And I'm not talking about the football hooliganisms and people beating up and less women at the game. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about the connection you had to your club. The connection has been impacted.
Yeah. It was like a weekly dagger at Notting Hill Carnival. Wasn't it?
I don't know.
No, it's not. That's just, it's a light pump these days. Sort of tap on the bum these days.
Yeah. Like I remember a defeat used to be like a good old, I was trying not everything that just came into my head. Every single thought I had in that short space of time was deeply offensive. And I've stopped myself from saying it.
Hey.
I had about 4 things that I could have said.
Well done.
I just
well done.
Am I growing?
Maybe. Well,
is the content less good because of it?
Are you growing? Literally. Dom Rich. Spoiled it there. Sorry. I can't do this. Right, here we go. I can't do this anymore. So we asked for ones that aren't in football. This is so good. This got 274 likes, rightly so. Dom Rich, I can't do this anymore moment when you're already in a foul mood and maybe in a rush and you get your pocket caught on the door handle in passing. Remember, has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
It's fucking infuriating. It's often like it's often my belt loop. I get that, and I'm fucking get off me! You're screaming at an inanimate object.
You want to smash the door right off its hinges, but you can't, as it will become another problem for you. You end up standing there trying to internalize your anger and emotions, questioning why you even bother. I can't do this anymore. James Churchyard, my I can't do this anymore moment involved a past relationship I had. I had a girlfriend. This is great. I had a girlfriend that every time she took a sip of her drink, she'd always go, after swallowing it at around the 3-year mark. One day we had a big argument, and after everything had cooled down, she picks up her drink, swallows it, and goes, I thought to myself, I can't fucking do this anymore. I kicked the argument back up again and ended the relationship. Well done, James. That's fun. Yeah.
We're going on to no in a second, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I've got a weird situation that happened to me. Is directly related to that, but also no at the same time. So remind me to say it because I won't remember.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. It's not the one you said last week, is it?
No, it's another one.
Okay.
With another girl.
Oh, right. Okay. That's an interesting one. It's like something trivial that made you end a relationship.
This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, I've got one as well. I mean, mine quickly was she just sort of she sang out loud all the time, but like meant it.
Yeah.
Okay, just went through me.
Because she had sort of.
She had a very good voice.
She had a good voice, right? Yeah, that's even worse.
Much,
if she can't sing, it's fine. But if you've got a good voice, let me give you yours. Mine. So there was when I was young. I was like 16, 17, maybe 16. And she, when she talked, the end of her nose would go like that. It would move up
Yeah, I
and
used to do
down
something like that. Yeah.
significantly. And I couldn't not see it every time she spoke. And I just looked at her one day and went, no.
No. Yeah.
We broke up shortly after.
I really tried to keep it going because I was like, she was well out of my league. I think deep down it definitely played a factor. Anyway,
it's mad. As you get older, you get less immature and you get less. It becomes all of these stuff, like inner beauty, becomes a genuine thing. But when you're 16, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's all about what you can see in your face.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
One of our patrons, Ibn Grief. My I can't do this anymore moment was when I was working at a really busy club pub a couple of months ago. There was about 30 people queuing at the bar with only me and another guy serving. It was boiling hot. Everyone was shouting their drink orders at once. I lunged down to grab a pint glass and my new work trousers split right in front from the top of my arse crack to the bottom of my zipper. A customer then barked a drinks order from out of nowhere and I just shouted, "Denims round my ankles. Give me a fucking minute." The stress release felt good. However, the awkward bus journey home did not.
Give me a fucking minute.
Just give me a fucking minute. I snapped a fam last night. Like, you know, when you're tired, you just rat it, right? We've got quite a narrow kitchen, as you know. And we've got this joke where we touch each other's bum when we go past them, like, all the time. And I was just not in the mood. And she did it too slowly. She sort of stopped in the middle bit and then carried on. I was like, fam, I'm tired. Fuck off.
Oh, really? Did you apologise?
Like, I realised I'd gone too far straight away. So we then started laughing about it. Oh, but it was so funny. It was good. You know, when you just don't even realise you're snapping.
Yeah.
You did that once at Ball Street once.
With who?
MacGyver.
Oh, with. Right.
Yeah. And last one, Alex Walalos. I can't do this anymore. One of my friends is from the Philippines, and apparently, gin is the drink over there. I guess it's the cheapest. He's a Barca fan and notorious for buying a round of gin shots for every goal. And there was one at 7 a.m. where my buddy Nate had a gin shot slid in front of him at 7:15 and said, "Enough of this shit." Which to me was the equivalent of, I can't do this anymore. It's good.
Yes.
There is a moment, isn't there, with the sort of lad banter where you kind of go, no. Which leads us on perfectly. No. This will be a 1 week thing. Dean Morgan is the type of guy. If you missed last week's podcast, skip to the end. Flav takes a minute to put the spotlight on Dean Morgan, the Premier League captain and winner of Leicester City. Philly Pryor, there's actually a real Dean Morgan.
Yeah.
And Dean Morgan, as you said, has played for a lot of clubs. I play for Flackwell Heath FC in Step 5, who are based in Wickham. A couple of years ago, our then gaffer brought in the aforementioned Dean Morgan, who played a handful of games for us, only scored a couple of goals. Not the impact you want from a former pro. He also used to cycle to training and matches and had an interesting collection of music he listened to. One of our WhatsApp groups is even still called Shotty Boys, after one of the songs he played. So Dean Morgan lives. He lives on. And, oh yeah, no. Finish off with no. Where is it? Okay. Russell Miller. No. I can't say it. It's really annoying me. You're the only one who can say no. How do you do it? You do it lower, do you? No.
No.
Yeah,
there you got it.
No. Yeah, good, good.
No.
Sort of gentle, sort of gently laced with condensation.
No.
I'm so tired. I was travelling to Bournemouth the other week and stopped by a Fleet Services. I saw a guy on the table next to me at Pizza Express ask the waiter if any customers were having a pre-nosh meal. When the waiter had no idea what he was banging on about, he proceeded to describe what goes on behind the bushes in the car park. The waiter was utterly bemused, and I was just thinking, no. The guy's wife was in a state of shock and horror too. Fortunately for him, a fellow sluggy shouted across the table, "Cheeky nosh off!" with the hand signal before the waiter decided he also wanted a piece of the action. Always great to be proven wrong. Thanks, Russell. Lol meerkats. No, I can't do it. Moment. The first thing that came to mind was when the whole country let out a collective no. When Chris Evans did his first episode of Top Gear after the original cast. He didn't do anything inherently wrong, but we all just went, no, just no. I'm not really a Top Gear guy, I'll be honest, but I get it. I'd be interested. Is there anyone you've done that with, sort of like co-coms or punditry, to kind of try and veer it towards football? Maybe there are. I wouldn't say their names because it's cruel, but there are sometimes pundits will be on co-coms, and I'm like, how? How are you still getting work?
Yeah.
Anyway, last one. Casey. My no is when I was in primary school, everyone used to have pasta and gravy for dinner.
What?
It was the most popular. Yeah. He doesn't look old either. It feels like something from the 50s.
I mean, he might be from another country. Like my missus is from Switzerland, and they have this weird. It's like a pasta / potato thing.
Gnocchi.
No. It's like it's sort of more like a spaghetti, but it isn't spaghetti. It's like a weird pasta. I've never seen a shape of pasta like it, but it's a lot long, and they put gravy on it, on this pasta. She cooked it for me once, and I was like, "This is fucking disgusting."
Yeah, what the fuck?
Never do that again.
What the fuck is that?
Try again. What the fuck?
Did you do that with the plate? Do you go? You sort of nudge it a bit. What's that?
No, I did this, Jim. I did this. I was eating, and I put it in my mouth, and she's looking at me, and I look at her and I went,
"No." You go like this.
Kids hated it as well.
You just pick it. How's you tasting it?
No, I'd always be respectful. I don't have feelings.
Do you know
my mum and so my dad and my stepmom, they genuinely do this every meal. Is they'll rate each other's meal out of 10,
really?
But they get really upset if they get a low score. Like so much so they argue and go to bed at different times and don't speak. Like, why do you keep playing this fucking game?
My mate Craig does two things actually. A bit like that. Whenever he tries something for the first time, he will try it and go. Did you hear that? Could you hear that?
No.
No. It's sort of like it.
No, I can't hear it.
Okay. Well, you'll hear it when you watch it back. Although obviously you're not going to watch it back.
We don't do this shit back.
This shit back. You mad? The other thing he does, he when he goes to restaurants and with his wife, he'll go. Yeah, with his wife, he go halfway through a meal. He'll go, "What sort of percentage are we looking at here?" To his wife to find out how much of her food she might leave for him. What percentage of food, extra food he'll get. I think it's incredibly rude, but he seems to get away with it.
So he always gets a bit extra food from his wife?
Generally.
Because she can't fit it in, or because
she's had enough kind of thing.
All right, so it's not like she saves some for him.
I do that with fam when we get sushi. I'll always finish first, and then I'll sit back, and I'm literally like, we're watching whatever we're watching, but I'm thinking, how much are you leaving, love? Come on, just let me know.
She's not going to finish that. See, I do the other thing. Is like if we've ordered a starter, I'll let Ollie have more than me if she wants it.
For the starter,
like we had these amazing arancinis the other day, and I was like, there was 3, and there's only 2 of us, and you're like, well, who's?
Yeah, difficult. That is difficult.
It's I really want it, but got to do the right thing.
What's annoying?
Cutting it in half. We had half each.
What's annoying is when there is like everyone's clearly kind of finished, and there's one bit of food left on like the plates on a meal, and it's like they're going to clear these away in a minute, and someone's going to not eat that.
I love the fact you become consumed by this in this moment, and nothing else matters. There is spare food on that plate, and if someone doesn't snap into action.
So it literally happened last week. We went for a meal with another couple, and we all got these. We got steak, and then we got these amazing like roast. They were sort of like roast potatoes, but they were basically like lines and lines and lines of roast potatoes, like so really crispy. And we had 2 of them, and it was. Everyone was allowed 2. So everyone's allowed 2. And someone somewhere had only had 1. And like everyone had finished and we're just chatting. But I'm literally not interested in the conversation because I'm just like, who's eating that? Like, who's eating? Because that's way too good, and this is too expensive a restaurant for us not to be leaving. To us to be leaving food that I could be eating, and I know I've had my two. I've had my two. That's the problem. I know I've had my two. So what do I do here?
Does Fam know you so well that she knows what's going through your head as well?
I think she does, and so I sort of try to I try to deceive her with my eyes because I'm sort of like looking at it and try and be present. But
what happened? What happened?
They went to take him away, and I just went, whoa. Like that's because everyone's. It's like, well, you've all had your chance now, and if
it was going to be taken away.
That's not going away. That's not going in the bin. Casey, last no. Mine was when I was in primary school. Everyone used to have pasta and gravy for dinner. It was the most popular dish in school, and I was part of the very small minority that thought, no, never tried it, and never will try it. I always judge those people, and still wonder that what went through the first kid's head to set the trend. Yeah, that's a good one. What are trends that you had at school that really were just terrible, but like I guess the cool kid was into it, so it became a thing.
I can't think of any trends really. We used to play. There were so many people that set up a play-by-mail. So do you remember play-by-mail football? So you remember that thing? Generally, it's in the back of sort of Match magazine or Shoot. There'd be these people that have set up this would be a thing, right? You'd send off for a team. You say, "Can I please manage Tottenham?" And there'll be managers all over the country, and each week it was a turn, one game. So you'd get sent in the post your a team sheet for you to write out, pick your players, your squad, and a transfer list, and then they'd have like a newspaper as well. It's all make believe. So you might be playing like this week we're playing Arsenal, and somewhere in Britain that person would have Arsenal, and essentially he would pick his team from his squad, and I'd pick my team from his squad, and we'd send them off to the bloke who runs this game, and then they would play. They'd play each other, and then next week you get your result: who won, who scored, how many corners there were, and you'd play this every week until the season would end.
How do they play? How are they playing each other?
So they would have. But right now, the easiest thing to do would be Championship Manager. So you would have Championship, but back then you didn't have that. So you don't really know what they were doing. They could be making it up. Or there were things like Premier Manager, or you could, in theory. Yeah, I don't know where it was. But anyway, we was obsessed by it at school, and there'd be kids that would be set up their own ones. And you'd pay 20p for a turn. I don't know where I'm going with this. I thought that you'd go, oh yeah, I remember that, but it didn't.
Right, and you just stay with it. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this confession. I'd say at uni we had a rule in our house that if you're telling a story and you could feel it dying, you're allowed to back out. You have to go, nah, I'm calling it. I'm gonna stop here. And it was like everyone's like, okay, wicked, yeah, that's a thing. And like once every like 3 months, someone would be telling a story, and then they go, do you know what? I'm gonna leave it. So good.
But you that doesn't typically happen in this podcast, because usually you'll be like jumping in and like helping me along, but you just sat there and listened.
Plow on. Anyway, enjoyed that. That was a nice soothing chat. I'm sorry I wasn't at my best, guys. But one day I'll sleep, and then you watch me. You watch me turn it on.
Fuck! I've literally just found the sheets. I'm going to send a link. I'm going to send a link to. So before there were play-by-mail, there was before Football Manager, there was play-by-mail fantasy football. I'm going to send you the link. Read it; it's fascinating. And they've got an actual printout of your squad and what it looked like and the rating.
Can I show people it quickly?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Send it WhatsApp now. Yeah, okay. Come on.
James.
I've been offered a place in the marathon, London Marathon.
Oh no, fuck that.
I've got enough on. Do you know what I mean? I really want to do it though, but I just haven't got. I just don't, and I'm scared to say no if I never get another chance. Okay, here we go. If anyone else remembers this, let us know.
Yeah, so like this. So if you scroll down, go to that.
This.
So the picture, not the words, right? So that was what your team would look like.
Right. And
So you'd have these are the players you could see: goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, and attackers, right? And each week you'd be sent this in a paper form. It would come through the post, and the
that
ratings.
sounds fun.
Yeah, so you got all the ratings of how good they are, and those you see the ratings there. So you pick your best players, and other people could bid for your players. So they would handwrite a transfer request. And then you would have to accept it. If you accepted it, the people that run the game would then transfer them.
The players.
Scroll down, see if there's any other images. Sorry, this is me geeking out massively here. Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I think you are showing your age a little bit, but
yeah, that's what it looked like. There's the league table there. Every week you play. That's wicked. Loved it.
That font brings a lot back. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Of seeing a league table like
there's
that.
anything else.
So what you'd get the results by post, and you'd be like, if you got a good win, and you went, I knew Bo Harder would bang in the goals this week.
Yeah. And basically all of your mates would be doing it as well. So you'd all be in the same league, and you'd be able to talk about it. So I fancy your striker. Can I have him on loan? So you can get him in loan for 4 weeks. If they're good, then you can buy them. It was good. And then there was a match report, so exactly what happened in the game. Yeah, it was good. Anyway,
simpler times.
Man.
Hang in there, guys. Hang in there. We'll soon. One day we'll stop talking about all the money and all that stuff. We'll just crack on, and QPR will return to former glories. I just need to hang on a little bit longer. Come on, Gareth. All the Gareths in my life. I hope you have a wonderful life.
Yes.
Flavel,
thanks,
Southgate, Ainsworth. Right. Thanks, guys.
Allcott.
It's not as Gary, but yeah, okay. We spoke about this the other day. Anyway, guys, thanks again. Become a patron if you'd like to, and you can enjoy all the mailbags. And yeah, have a great weekend. Bye.
Cheers, everyone. Take care.